welcome to today's video. It's grass growing season. If you're a regular viewer from last year, you remember we've got quite a lot of turf growing fields around me, so we're obviously watering. It's growing along quite nicely. That seems to have come up quite quickly. I came this way a couple of weeks ago, no, probably a month ago actually, and I did actually look over at those fields and there wasn't a lot to see in them, so it's definitely a good sign. Spring's here, grass is growing, so I'm heading off in the general direction of Newark this morning. So we've definitely got spring on the way. Well, spring's here, isn't it? That's what I mean to say. We've got the leaves starting on the trees. Much as I love to see a tree skeleton in the winter, it is also nice to see the blossom on the trees and some green leaves coming. So this morning I'm actually heading off to meet one of my oldest friends for a chat. He's not on a bike. It would be quite funny to see him on a bike, but he's not on the bike. And I've got an earpiece in and I'm doing something I haven't done before by accident. So I planned a route earlier on in Komoot. I still have a problem saying that, planning a route in Komoot. But I planned a route, put it into the Wahoo when I turned it on. So I've been following that. But accidentally, somehow, I've actually turned the route on my phone. So in my earpiece, it's guiding me. And it's very good. I'm liking it. There's a young lady, the lady in the phone, my good friend College Dave. His name's Dave, but we call him College Dave in our house because we've got a few Daves, so he's College Dave. No one else calls him it, it's just us. He christened the lady in the phone Cassandra, and I think it kind of fits. In my head, it's Cassandra with a K. Cassandra from Komoot, who's telling me in my ear where to go. So Cassandra tells me I'm on this road for 0.85 miles. She's very precise. Of course, there was one fatal flaw. I've just realised Komoot was set on the gravel bike setting. So it's plotted a route on some gravel, well, on some track. Which wasn't really what I had in mind on my summer bike, but I stuck with it because it was only about 800 yards, which of course Cassandra told me. So now we're back on the road. Hooray! So I've been using Komoot, as you know, for quite a while now, and you know, the more I use it, the more I like it. Keep finding more little functions on it. Like I say, this morning I found that it will give you a voice command in your ear, which I hadn't realised before, so that's quite nifty. And the other clever thing about that, and using Komoot straight off the phone into my earpiece, I've got the Komoot route on the Wahoo to follow visually, but my phone is actually guiding me through the earpiece. And what that does, if I go off route, which I purposefully did at the start of the ride, the earpiece reroutes. So if you actually were using it in that situation, that is worth bearing in mind. I must admit, It didn't actually take the most logical route. However, upon reflection, thinking about it, it was possibly because it is still on the gravel setting. So one of the things you can do on Komoot is you can tell it if you're doing touring cycling, mountain biking, road biking, gravel biking. So obviously it will pick the route accordingly, and that is a very useful function. So it's certainly a grand day. We've been blessed with a really nice weekend actually. Yesterday was really good, although I wasn't on the bike. I was at the first round of a British Scooter Endurance Championships. 2 rounds this year. So 6-hour endurance race at Wilton Mill in Northamptonshire, which was good fun. Good to see all the guys. And I'll drop a little bit of footage for your viewing pleasure. If this is something that interests you, I'll also drop a link down below to a 6-hour video of the whole event live. We've got drone footage, pit lane cameras, got it all going on. A couple of commentators that did a really good job actually, considering there's the first time they'd commentated on scooters. They did a pretty good job. Must be quite daunting commentating for 6 hours. But yeah, it is a grand day. Still a little bit cold. I think it's going to be about 10 degrees towards the end of the ride. So one of those mornings where it's a little bit tricky to know what to wear. 5 degrees when I left. Fantastic. Loose chickens. So today's route is actually quite flat. Actually on the hills not at all. The roads here actually this is a route I very rarely come. And whenever I do come this route, I always think I really ought to do it more often. It's quite nice coming out this way. Goes around a village called Carlton Le Moorland and towards Stapleford, or Stapleford as I believe it's called in these parts. This brings you out through some woods, and I do believe there's some quite nice little roads and tracks through the woods, which I really must come out with a gravel bike sometime and take a ride on.